Common sense, but we're not going to talk common sense up next. We're going to be talking about Meghan. Meghan, you remember her? Yeah, we don't like the news very often because she likes her private life. But the Duchess of Sussex is in the news after giving an interview with a US business magazine. What the hell they were talking about.
I was told by somebody they were only putting out 10 jars. So, of course, it would all go because I think she sold them to her friends.
I don't think she even sold it to her friends. I think they were all thought she sent it to them.
Jar of non-jam, because it's actually only allowed officially to be called fruit spread because there's not enough fruit in it.
Imagine a royal duchess selling jam to fund a $20 million lifestyle. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, Meghan Markle's jam venture is more of a financial disaster than a dream come true. Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking truth behind the luxury brand that's crumbling under the weight of its own hype. Meghan Markle's venture, American Riviera Orchard, is a picture-perfect dream. Rose-tinted Instagram reels, hand-picked fruit, and delicate script logos that scream luxury. It's not just jam, it's an entire lifestyle, carefully curated to evoke a sense of nostalgia and exclusivity.
New brand as ever. She's previously hinted she might never restock her jam because the first batch sold out within 45 minutes.
Think sunny afternoons in Montecito, where the air smells like lavender, and every moment is wrapped in soft lighting and aesthetic perfection. But this isn't just about selling a product. It's a brand built on an image, a filtered, flower-crowned, sun-kissed existence meant to make you feel like you're living the dream of the rich and famous. With artisanal teas, small batch jams, and curated gift baskets, Meghan has wrapped the promise of luxury in a neat little package. It's Martha Stewart with a tiara, selling the illusion of a perfect Instagram-worthy life. It's easy to get swept up in the fantasy. After all, who wouldn't want to believe that a jar of jam could transport you to an idyllic, lavender-scented afternoon in a sprawling California estate? But behind the polished photos and perfectly styled product shots, there's a darker side to this fairy tale that's far less glamorous. Behind the glossy filters and idyllic posts, the financial reality of Meghan's jam venture is anything but charming.
Yeah, well, whatever way it was. So it's been a disaster. And one of the disasters was the packing, which she spent day after day, so she said, poor thing, packing it up the right way and the right...
Each jar of her signature spread retails for around $14. But after factoring in ingredient sourcing, specialty glassware, label printing, luxury ribbons, influencer packaging, and shipping costs, she's only pocketing about $6 per jar. That might sound manageable, but when you're spending close to $20 million a year to maintain your celebrity royal fusion lifestyle, it doesn't add up. To cover just $15 million in expenses through jam sales alone, Meghan would need to sell 2.5 million jars each year. That's not just ambitious, it's delusional. The reality is, she's not wholesaling to major retailers like Target or Whole Foods. These aren't the kind of jams you find in every grocery store. They're more like exclusive collectibles, carefully gifted to friends, influencers, and a select group of her celebrity fan club. But that exclusivity comes with a huge price tag.
This cylinder now, if you're watching, what a... Ta-da! Right, there it is. This is raspberry spread. I believe this is like...
The jars may sit beautifully on a shelf, but with a business model so small scale, there's no way to generate enough revenue to fund the lavish lifestyle she's promoting. It's a classic case of luxury branding with a shelf life that's about as short as the jam itself. Here's where the fairy tale starts to unravel. Meghan's dream of turning her small batch jam into a multi-million-dollar empire faces a serious challenge: scaling. The reality is, for this brand to even make a dent in her $20 million yearly expenses, she would need to produce millions of jars each year. But there's a major hurdle: cottage food laws. These laws, designed for small-scale, home-based businesses, place strict limits on production. Meghan can't just scale up without running into legal roadblocks that would force her to change everything. Even if she could find a way around these regulations, the numbers don't add up. If Meghan tried to mass-produce her jam, she'd face an impossible choice.
The honey is $28 and the tea is about the same price. So they're not giving this away. So magic moment, I'm going to open it now.
Keep the luxury image or cut costs to compete with mainstream brands. Major stores like Whole Foods would demand competitive pricing, likely forcing her to sell her 14 jam for a fraction of the cost. Suddenly, the premium branding vanishes and the product becomes just another grocery store item. So, Meghan is caught in a dangerous paradox. Too small to scale, but too expensive to be viable. The brand is trapped between its luxury aspirations and the hard limits of the food industry. And as the costs mount, it's becoming clear, the jam can't save the empire. While Meghan's jam venture may be struggling to find a sustainable path, one thing is undeniable. The lifestyle she and Harry are maintaining is anything but small scale. Their $20 million annual expenses are a stark reminder that a royal caliber life doesn't come cheap.
Much better, much cheaper, and he gives the amount of money to charity. So
but the duckship, I mean, that's been a spectacular success, hasn't it? And I know there are quite a lot. I certainly did, but they did a lot of.
From the sprawling estate in Montecito with a rumored $100,000 monthly mortgage to the high-end security detail that costs over $3 million a year. Every aspect of their life is underwritten by astronomical bills, and that's just the beginning. The Sussexes don't just live in luxury, they've built an empire that requires constant upkeep. The staff alone, including personal chefs, nannies, housekeepers, and groundskeepers, adds up to a jaw-dropping $250,000 a month.
Hang on. I heard... Yeah.
That's $3 million a year just to maintain their inner circle of perfection. Then, there are the luxury wardrobes, private schools, bespoke yoga instructors flown in from Bali, and a never-ending parade of seasonal decor, all curated to maintain their public image. Every corner of their home, every public appearance, is an opportunity to sell the idea of royal elegance and wealth. But with a brand that's built on image rather than a concrete business model, it's clear that the jam jars aren't going to cover these costs.
Sold at my local supermarket, they're absolutely top notch. But there was some talk that she apparently was the view. I mean, she's got some podcast.
While other lifestyle brands like Goop have taken years to build their empire, Meghan's approach is to sell the fantasy first and worry about the business later. And that's where the cracks begin to show. Because no matter how many jars of jam she sells, the sheer cost of their lifestyle is too much for any boutique product to support. Meghan's soft launch of American Riviera Orchard was far from the fairy tale success she had envisioned. The reality?
It doesn't overwhelm you. And people said it was thin. I can see that. It's moving around in the jar. Right.
Fewer than 1,000 jars of jam sold, mostly gifted to influencers, friends, and a select few media personalities. This wasn't a successful product rollout. It was more like a boutique bake sale for billionaires. Wrapped in crinkle paper and handed out to her celebrity circle, the launch felt less like a business venture and more like a PR stunt to maintain the illusion of luxury and exclusivity. Despite the carefully planned image, the numbers were telling a different story.
Women found, I don't bother learning the names of these things because they never last that long, but basically about, business found.
Most businesses aim for a launch that leaves their product flying off the shelves, but Meghan's jam barely made a dent in the market. What was spun as a sellout moment was, in reality, a soft launch, a whisper in the world of commerce that wouldn't even have been noticed by big box stores or online retailers. This wasn't the start of a new luxury empire. It was more of a marketing moment disguised as a success. Even Meghan herself has hinted that the jam might never be restocked.
It tastes of entitlement, greed, avarice and deception.
Playing into the narrative that it was so exclusive it couldn't possibly be made available to the masses. But in truth, this approach feels more like a luxury hobby than a legitimate business. And as the jam jars gather dust on shelves, it becomes increasingly clear. The dream of American Riviera Orchard may be a well-crafted story, but it's failing to translate into real business success. At the heart of Meghan Markle's American Riviera Orchard lies a branding paradox.
With the cracker and the stingy amount.
Let's bring a bit of salt.
But
On one hand, she's trying to sell an image, luxury, exclusivity, the perfect lifestyle, wrapped in the allure of royalty. But on the other hand, that very image is what's preventing the brand from becoming a sustainable business. The luxury branding that Meghan has crafted around her jam may look beautiful on Instagram, but it's not translating into the kind of sales required to support the high costs of her public life. Selling a luxury product requires more than just a pretty label and a well-curated Instagram feed. It needs infrastructure, scale, and consistent demand. And Meghan's brand is struggling with all three. The jam, as a product, is too niche and too expensive to appeal to a mass audience. Even if the product were to catch on, it would face huge challenges in distribution and scaling. There's only so much luxury that can be packed into a jar of jam, and the reality is that no amount of lavender, glitter, or Instagram posts can cover up the fundamental flaws in the business model.
With the brand, she said, but didn't she reckon that she, apparently friends are saying she expected to, wants to become a billionaire?
The branding that Meghan has carefully constructed, an image of royal elegance, sun-kissed afternoons, and perfectly curated homes, may be working to sell a dream, but it's not enough to sustain a business. The jam is a symbol of the broader dilemma: how to maintain a luxury lifestyle while trying to build a brand that's more about image than substance. And as the pressure mounts to keep the dream alive, Meghan is left with a stark reality. Her brand is built on a fantasy, but the financials are anything but fairy tale. While Meghan Markle's brand continues to be dressed in sparkling aesthetics, the financial reality is far from glamorous. Behind the soft lighting, perfectly styled jars, and carefully staged Instagram posts, a financial firestorm is quietly brewing. To maintain the curated lifestyle that the Sussexes are known for, they're burning through cash at an alarming rate. And it's not just about jam sales. There are far bigger, more expensive factors at play. The Sussexes are living a life that requires constant maintenance. Their $20 million annual expenses are just the tip of the iceberg. Between legal fees, personal security costs, and their lavish Montecito estate, the price tag keeps rising. Their home alone carries a staggering mortgage and yearly property taxes, not to mention the high-end security teams and staff required to maintain their privacy and protect their brand. With the added costs of personal chefs, nannies, stylists, and wellness consultants, their lifestyle is becoming increasingly unsustainable. Then there's the PR machine behind the Sussex brand. 3 different communications teams in just 1 year, all costing 6 figures each. Every time Meghan or Harry decide to refresh their public image or take on a new project, the cost is astronomical. They've built a narrative around their lives, but that narrative requires constant financial fuel to keep running. It's a relentless cycle of rebranding and public-facing content that has no end in sight. And while the Instagram-ready photos and curated moments may make it look effortless, behind the scenes, the bills are stacking up, and it's becoming more evident that no amount of influencer partnerships or jam sales can cover it all. As Meghan Markle's business ventures continue to struggle, the real question becomes impossible to ignore. Is this a sustainable brand or just a mirage? The allure of her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, is undeniably captivating. Luxury, exclusivity, a royal touch. But when you look beyond the perfectly curated Instagram shots and glowing influencer posts, it's clear that something doesn't add up. The problem isn't just with the jam, it's with the very foundation of the brand. Meghan has built her post-royal life on the idea that everything she does is tied to an image of sophistication and royalty. The problem is, that image is expensive to maintain and hard to monetize. She's trying to sell a lifestyle that requires constant curation, constant media attention, and most importantly, constant money. With a product that can't scale and a brand that's more focused on aesthetics than substance, the business itself is at risk of collapsing under the weight of its own ambition. The reality is that Meghan and Harry are trapped in a cycle of high-cost living, constant rebranding, and unsustainable image management. While the world watches their every move, it's becoming increasingly clear that the brand they've built around their royal status and lifestyle may be nothing more than a house of cards. the illusion is fading, and the question remains: can they continue to sell the dream, or will the mirage crumble under the harsh light of reality? Behind every luxurious post, every perfectly staged moment in Montecito, lies a staggering cost that Meghan and Harry are struggling to cover. The dream of royalty mixed with Hollywood lifestyle doesn't come cheap, and the reality of maintaining this image is slowly catching up with them. Their financial machine, driven by product sales, media deals, and influencer partnerships, can't seem to keep pace with the lavish lifestyle they've built. While Meghan's jam venture might be the face of their entrepreneurial efforts, it's clear that the Sussexes are relying on far more than jars of fruit preserves to fund their $20 million annual tab. Their high-end security detail alone is a multi-million-dollar expense, and with their estate in Montecito, the cost of keeping up appearances is rising fast. Private jets, exclusive vacations, and luxury staff, these are the non-negotiables in their world, yet they're funded by the very brand that's struggling to scale. The financial hemorrhage doesn't end there. Despite massive deals with platforms like Netflix and Spotify, the Sussexes are still dealing with stalled projects and unfulfilled promises. The costly rebranding efforts, multiple PR firms, and constant legal battles are adding up, leaving them with little room to breathe. Their carefully cultivated image of freedom and authenticity is being funded by high stakes, constant media attention, and an image that demands perfection at all costs. In short, the dream is unsustainable. While Meghan and Harry continue to push forward with their public personas and lifestyle branding, the truth is that it's only a matter of time before the financial reality catches up with them. No amount of curated content, luxury jam, or Instagram filters can cover the true cost of living the dream they've built. As the bills pile up and the cracks in the carefully constructed facade of Meghan and Harry's empire become more visible, the big question remains: how long can they keep this up? The dream of American Riviera Orchard, once touted as the next big luxury brand, is slowly slipping through their fingers. Despite the glossy posts and the carefully packaged narrative of success, the financial strain is becoming impossible to ignore. What started as an attempt to build a business rooted in luxury and exclusivity now seems more like a desperate attempt to keep a public image afloat. The jam jars, the teas, the Instagram perfect moments, they all represent a bigger issue. The Sussexes struggle to maintain relevance while keeping up with their extravagant lifestyle. The dream they sold to the public was one of reinvention and freedom, but behind the filters, it's become clear that they are still bound by the same pressures that came with their royal titles. Only now, those pressures are self-inflicted. As their brand falters, the glimmer of the fairy tale fades, and the question that remains is no longer about the success of a jar of jam, but about the very foundation of the empire they've tried to create. Can they continue to sell the dream, or has the fairy tale finally reached its end?